Welcome. And we're going to start off this week's Parashat is Parashat Shoftim, the Parashat of Judges. So we'll be on page 1160. And the Torah starts off in Parashat Shoftim in Pasuk. Becca, why don't you read first Pasuk? You said soon as Pasuk Aleph to Pasuk Chaf.
שופטים ושוטרים תיתן לך בכל שעריך, אשר השם אלוקיך נותן לך לשבטיך, לשפטו את העם משפט צדק. לא תתן משפט, לא תכיר פנים ולא תיקח שוחד, כי השוחד יעבר עיני חכמים ויסלף דברי צדיקים. צדק תרדוף למען תחיה וירשת את הארץ אשר השם אלוקיך נותן לך.
Okay. So what does it mean? Shoftim v'shoftim. You should appoint in every place, into every shevet, to every tribe, in every city. We're supposed to have a mitzvah to appoint shoftim v'shoftim. We have appointed to judges, and a shoter is a police person, a sheriff, someone who's going to make sure that the people follow and people keep the rulings that the judges give. So you have a shofet as a judge who is going to be giving the rulings to say how we should act and what is the correct way to follow. What is the correct way, what is in between. People have problems, people have issues between each other. We should come to the shofet. You should come to the judge, and they will rule. They will decide who is correct and who's incorrect. And therefore, because in any society, of course, we all want to get along, but in any society, you're going to have differences of opinion and differences of perspective about things, and especially when it comes to monetary things, people very much get a very big feeling. They say this story. Yes.
Regarding the shofet, is it just by the rules of the Bible? And because shoter is supposed to enforce that people will follow the rules. Normally, Muslim Sharia law, it's enforced, but in modern society, it's not, the police don't enforce the religious rules. They enforce like the civil, you know what I mean? Do you understand what I mean?
So what you're saying is your question in essence, what you're asking is is this applicable? Do they follow today? That's your question.
No. At this time, you say shoftim and
not shoftim. Are we able to fully fulfill this mitzvah today? That's what you're asking?
So the shotrim, because there's shoftim and shotrim, the shotrim is supposed to enforce that the people follow the rules of mitzvot. Basically, you need to use your word, or the actually mitzvot are not being forced to follow, but civil behavior, like, okay, no, don't murder is also mitzvah. It's also by the book, but there's other things that, violence between couples or something. I don't think it's come from the Torah. There are civil matters. So the police is supposed to enforce the mitzvot. People follow mitzvot, or generally speaking.
So let's maybe. I think I understand what your question is. What your question is, and let me give a little bit of background. What your question is in us, if I want, just to make sure I understand your question. What you're saying is the role of the shoter is just to enforce religious things, or their role is to enforce civil things as well? Is that your question?
Yes, because civil things in modern society, police enforce civil things. Lots of civil things based actually on the Bible. Don't kill, don't steal. There are Bible things and also civil things. No one allow you to steal. You're not supposed to steal. You'll be punished if you do that. But or it's I don't, because Bible times were different to these days. So I did to be honest, I didn't even know that there was shotrim. They were called shotrim then. I knew that maybe there's some, not even that. I didn't know that there's kind of, I didn't think about it, because maybe if I thought about it, I say it must be someone that to keep the order. But I just wonder how
does it work?
Then. How did it work then? Yeah.
So similarly, not just, so I would say there's two things. The way we're looking at it is not just then, but also in saying it's not just then the way when the Jewish people had autonomy, they were really ruling themselves and had the Sanhedrin, the real rulership of the and you had smicha, you had appointment ready, meaning people who already had the appointment to judgment, judges who are appointed who have a direct line of their appointment all the way back from Moshe. When we had people of that stature, at that point you have the Shoftim were the judges who in general would judge all of society. Now, I think there's a point that which you touched, and I think is an important aspect. The Jewish, in regards to Judaism, in regards to knowing what's right and what's correct, is not just some things we see in regards to these aspects of bein adam lemakom. There are mitzvot that we keep between us and God, like keeping Shabbat and putting on tefillin and so on and so forth, and eating kosher. And then there's mitzvot bein adam lechaverot. There's mitzvot between people. There's all in the same way that you have a mitzvah between us and God, you have mitzvot in between people, which is what we call today civil society. Meaning to say is having a civilized society. So which means that there are many laws in regards to how people, in regards to should proper and deal with in that society.
Now, brilliant example, not enough. If someone נואף, בוגד, באשתו למשל, הוא לא ילך לבית משפט על זה, אבל לפי חוקי, if I cheated on my husband... What
you're asking is so this is a different question what you're asking. What you're asking now is, do today's day and age, do you have, what power does the rabbinic authority have?
No, I'm asking differently. Leave this there, I'm talking then, when it says שופטים ושוטרים. Someone that נאף, מישהו שנאף, בגד.
Yeah.
Will he be judged by the shofet?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's it, because these days, because we're not, maybe by rabbinical law, maybe, but like take Israel is not ruled by that. It's so, but civil, בית משפט רגיל, בית משפט will not judge anyone for cheating.
Right, there is no laws against it.
Yes, that's what I mean. So, but this time, someone will be judged.
Correct,
yeah.
correct.
Okay,
and if, meaning to say is that intrinsically, yes, that there would be laws that there is.
רבנות, maybe זו עילה לגירושין, for example, because
100% based on that.
כן, בית משפט רבני, כן.
That will cause, that will be what's called for divorce if they have the proper evidence for it.
Yes, of course. But in regular, in civil, it's not no עילה.
Because in the law in UK, in Israel, and in different countries, there is no law against cheating. If there would be a law against cheating, then there would be. Or for example, another law that there is against incest. So,
of course.
Which means, in theory, meaning to say is there's a law for people have incestual relationships. There's a law against that. It's a crime to do that, right?
Yes.
So if you do that, you have whatever the repercussions of committing that crime, that could be enforced based on a court.
Yes.
So if a person gets reported that they're doing that, or for example, there's other acts that people will be as a crime to do in that way, right? I'm saying for whatever it is.
Yeah, but unless the country was run in as a bet rabban like this,
which means If you're saying that, as I said before, there's two aspects. There's one aspect is if you have the country, you have the autonomy that we're following Jewish autonomy and we're following the Torah law.
Yeah.
That's aspect number one.
Yeah.
Point number two is considering that we don't have the proper smicha, we don't have the proper appointment, inauguration of
סמיכה מלשון הסמכה.
Smicha is more a point of an appointment. Literally means
להסמיך, כן, זה הכוונה, להסמיך, כן.
to place your hands upon the head and call the person Rav. There needs to be in order for it to properly fulfill all the different laws and properly judge all the laws that's written in the Torah, we have to have a direct line from this Rav who's doing that all the way. He got smicha from someone who got smicha from someone who got smicha all the way back to Moshe Rabbeinu.
Okay.
All the way back to Moshe Rabbeinu. Because of the difficulties Jewish people went through in Galut, that stopped.
Yeah. Okay.
So today there's in part of halacha, there's a discussion, what power do Rabbanim today and judges they have to judge on due to the fact that they don't have proper smicha. And what it comes down to is something which are common and in regards to also things which are, meaning marital relation to marriage, divorce, or things which are common, also things that will bring about damages. If it creates damages, they also have a right. Things that were in regards to that, things that are regards to that would be deserving of capital punishment, or deserving of a penalty or whatever it is. That is something that is not in the purview of Jewish judges today in order to do. So therefore, in that aspect, they wouldn't have the power unless, as there has been once, I think the one story case throughout in Jewish history, I think in the times of the Rashba, I believe that was the case. Throughout Jewish history, the way Jews it's something that we don't relate to today. But throughout Jewish history, the Jews were not considered citizens of the country as everyone else in many countries. They were considered a separate part of society.
Okay.
At the same time, they were also given their own autonomy. Meaning to say that they were, in essence, ruled themselves, judged themselves. Now, it was a double-edged sword, because what happened was, for the same price, since they weren't like everyone else, they could be thrown out whenever they wanted.
Yes.
Whenever they were disliked, and as we all know, that they went from many different places.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm speaking more about Europe, because I don't necessarily know. I am not in the North African and Middle Eastern country. I'm not exactly sure in the same way, because I think it's possible it was similar. I'm not as familiar with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm assuming in Europe, they were considered separate, and therefore they ruled themselves in a way, they were a separate way. So there was a case where they because of the crimes the person was committing, it could be he was a murderer or all that, the rabbis committed someone to death. If they considered society needed that, it was a danger to society, they would do that. Or in other cases, they would hand them over to the governmental authorities that they should go and do that. Right?
Yeah.
That they should do that. Today's day and age, we don't have that because we have, in regards to in societies, Jews are considered citizens of everyone else, and therefore the laws that are pertain to them are pertain to everyone else as well.
Because according to me,
that which is Napoleon started.
Yeah.
That was already started from Napoleon's time.
Okay. There's the mixture between the civil and not, because I'm married to Paul. By Judaism, I'm not. I can marry Jewish men, but Rabbanut will not marry me because I'm already married. Even though by Judaism, I can marry Tekel. He's Jewish. I'm not. By Judaism, I'm not married. It's civil. They don't recognize it, but because the combination of civil and Israel won't allow for that. In Israel, I'm married, so they won't allow me to marry Jewish men. So the Rabbanut respect it and won't marry me
Because there's
Jewish
laws
person.
against polygamy,
Yeah,
right?
but
Because there's laws against polygamy.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the combination of the two because by the
Well,
name
all
there's
you're
no
saying is
polygamy
that,
because I'm not
that's
married.
an interesting thing. That's because you have the secular laws govern
Yeah.
one aspect. In Israel, the marriage is actually it's not the secular laws, but rather it's actually in the rabbinic courts. It was one of the things that there was an agreement given over in the beginning.
You cannot do civil marriage in Israel, but they recognize civil marriage outside.
Correct. They don't. Everything is done through rabbinic courts.
Yeah.
Marriages and divorces. Hence, if there is a problem of divorce in Israel, that actually the rabbinic court has enforcers. They have the Shoftim. They actually get the police to carry out their edicts that they want. If they want someone to be put into prison, the rabbinic court actually is the one who issue that. What's it called for that to happen? So that's in regards to that. But yes. Considering that everything is in regards to the rabbinic, there is a combination between civil marriages which exist from other places because there's laws against polygamy, and therefore they have to then balance how does everything work together, right? So that's to give you a bit of a clarity in regards to, if you want to look at it in regards to the pure state of how things should be, there would be Shoftim in the ideal sense, running how things should be running based on Torah law and based on that which we believe is the ultimate truth. Now,
That'd be good idea. One husband here, one husband in Israel, two husbands. One is enough.
That's not what would be encouraged.
No, one is enough, thanks.
But I just to give you an example. This is something interesting. The Lavjeva points out that when does it say that we have Shoftim and Shotrim? Only when in your cities that God is giving you, in future tense. Meaning to say is when you go into Israel, there at that point, you should actually have Shoftim v'Shotrim. Okay? Which means beforehand, what do they have? You would first imagine nothing, right? Only then. But we do know they had before then. How do we know we had before then? Because we learned in Parashat Yitro. Yitro came and saw how Moshe was judging and giving direction to all the Jewish people. It says, it's too much for you. So what did he say? Start appointing judges and have judges who are in charge of hundreds, a few dozen, judges of thousands, judges in charge of all the different tribes, and they have a hierarchy of judges. So you already had judges. What didn't they have or didn't need? Shotrim, didn't policemen. Because he says that then, when the Jews were in the desert, while they did complain, they were something, but in general, they didn't have that same Yetzer Hara not to follow what the judges were saying. Then the judges said something, they followed it. They said it was your cow, it belongs to you. It belongs to you. Also, it says, same idea is when Mashiach will come.
We'll have Yoatzim.
What does it say over there? It says, we say in the Tefillah, Hashiva Shaftenu Karishona. Bring back your judges like that originally was. And Yoatzim, what does it mean? Those who give advice. What doesn't it say? Doesn't say Shotrim. Why doesn't it say Shotrim?
We won't need them.
We won't need them. A shoter is when you need someone to police and make sure to enforce it. Well, to enforce it. That's why, in those two aspects, you need it. That's when we're not, meaning you don't have the
So
shofet.
Dayan is shofet. Dayan is
Correct,
shofet.
correct.
Okay. So Dayan is the modern day.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
So-
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for
So
that.
we say that Shoftim v'Shotrim, we have a mitzvah. They should be Chol Sharecha
Okay.
in all your cities, in all your gates. And we say that one of the things is that it doesn't just mean that we should appoint the judges, and we say the judges have to be honest. They should do honest. They should judge the people honestly. They have to be people that one side should feel that their judges are more biased towards the other side. I mean to say they should be, first of all, they should not take bribes. They should not be corrupt. They have to be they should be honest. There should be something that in the United States they're discussing right now, how the Supreme Court takes gifts from other people.
Yeah.
And how does that affect?
But they say,
How does it
כסף
affect?
יעבר עיני צדיקים.
Right? Where does it say? Right over here.
Yeah.
Yahweh and
Yeah.
Here exactly is the source of that. This is
Yeah,
the
I know
source.
it, I know it.
Not that it says
And
that
it's from here,
and,
nice.
and it's not even that even if it said that, even if the even if the judge is not meaningful, but bribery has the ability to change people's minds. Our minds in regards to our thinking could be swayed in many different ways. When we have an interest, we may begin to think one specific way, and we don't think we're thinking correctly. It sounds logical to us, but we're drawn to one way. There's a story, I forgot which, I'm trying to remember with who it was. It was a story in Gemara, or was one of the other Rishonim. I think it was that he was one time judging in court, and he began to feel that automatically he was being drawn to one of the sides, and he couldn't explain why. And he felt that I'm being drawn. So he asked for a recess. And he went to the recess, he took his coat, and he put his hand in his coat, and he felt one of the sides had slipped in some money into his coat in order to bribe him. And that itself made him begin to feel that his mind was being drawn to one side more than the other. That the idea of bribery has such an effect on us. And it's not that we feel, I really think it's one way, but because I got 100,000 pounds, it's the other way. No. When we get to 100,000 pounds, we begin to convince ourselves that it's the other way. If you ask the one, what it really is, it makes sense. It logically makes sense, right? That's how the effect that it has on us.
Yahweh, of course.
It's Yahweh. What does it mean to be blind?
Yeah.
You're blind. You don't see
blind,
it.
It's blind even the thinking. It's blind
of
to
the
thinking. Yeah.
And it says that someone who becomes what's it called? Our sages say that if someone who takes bribes, says he will pass away. He won't pass away before he actually becomes blind. Before he becomes blind, in regards to not being able to see. The judge who takes bribes. So it's important that a judge has to be very, very careful that everything is honest. And we say is also that they say lo yisaker panim, you shouldn't show favoritism, which our sages say doesn't necessarily just mean that you intentionally show favoritism and you're trying to lean the case towards one over the other, but even not to subtly make a person think that there's favoritism. That, for example, if someone is more honorable person, generally the two sides are supposed to stand when they're standing before the judges. You shouldn't offer one of them a seat and the other one has to still stand. Even the person is very honorable. Because as soon as one side sees that you're showing favoritism to the other side, automatically you lose your train of thought. You lose your motivation. You lose your drive to come up with ideas of why you're correct. You lose your focus. And therefore, if we want the case to truly be correct and truly be true, we have to show that each one has to be treated equally in a proper way. That's one aspect. No problem.
Safety.
And then what's going in a proper way? Then then there's another aspect. We know that say the story that there was a shochet. There was a shochet who came to bring a cow. The way he used to work was, I think it still does today, but it's a bit different. He used to have a butcher. He used to be the shochet. He used to slaughter the animal. Who used to slaughter animal. You had the butcher who would hire a shochet to slaughter the animal. And if he had questions, they would go to a local town rabbi. Today's days, in the factories, they have the rabbi on site, and everything's on site, and they just are going through many, many animals at a time. There used to be, you got 1, 2, whatever was needed. So there was a shochet who comes, and they had a question on the animal, and the rabbi says, unfortunately, this animal, the lung is not good, it's not kosher. And they had to say, fine, accepted it. And he threw the whole animal away, which is a lot of money. There's a lot of money that they lost. Another animal, a little while later.
Yeah, they used to blow. Remember after
they
used to
blow
blow.
because
My
they needed.
grandfather used to do that. He was shochet. He was rabbi and shochet. So yeah.
Blow the lung because they want to see if there's any holes in the lung.
Yes.
If there's holes in the lung, it's not kosher.
What memories! Wow, taking me back now years. Wow.
Very good. Very good.
Amazing. Yeah.
How do you blow?
You actually they take it as if the lungs is like a balloon.
Yeah.
So if you take the what's it called, the trachea,
Yeah.
and you blow into it,
Kane.
it actually blows up.
Yeah. זה כמו בלון, תחשוב שבלון יש לו כמו
Yeah,
צוואר
like in the
כזה,
beginning.
אתה מנפח, וזה, אם יש חור,
Then
אתה
put it
תרגיש.
in the mouth?
You they put their lips to the top of it.
Bit gruesome, but especially big cows and
Yeah.
stuff like this, but that's how it is.
They're quite big. I'm saying yeah, if you've seen it, it's a sight.
You know, I
So-
didn't see the slaughter, but I remember him.
Him blowing.
Amazing.
So it happened a little while later. It happened again. Then a week later, this shochet had an argument over a certain sum of money that he was arguing with someone else. And this time the rabbi ruled against him. But this time the man was so annoyed, so angry. How that is incorrect. I'm right. The money should really belong to me. And he's really going against him. And the rabbi says, I don't understand. The first 2 times I ruled that the animals unkosher, you lost a lot of money. A lot of people accepting willing. This time, why are you so much fighting against it? She says, the first 2 times I lost money, fine. But this time is I lose the money and he should gain the money. That part I can't accept. So we know that the Shalah says that we have a certain thing of within ourselves that when it comes to judgments, with the fear of us losing some money and someone else gaining, the human being, Hashem makes this test that people can really could go real crazy and make the judges crazy just because they want to win. just because they want to be the winner.
It's not only money, I heard. Like, it's if you have a wife and you don't want to anymore, it's fine, and you won't. But as soon as if that wife then finds someone else, then the person goes. As soon as you throw something away, you don't need it. As soon as somebody else needs it.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Throw women away.
100% people get So it gets so because of that, it says is because of the way people deal with it, we say Shoftim v'shotim titen lecha. The Torah tells us we should be a shofet to yourself as well.
Yes.
We have to also make sure to judge ourselves and think to ourselves, am I fighting in this case just to be right? Am I fighting with this case just to be, am I making it, and I'm just perverting the justice in order that I should just get my way? Or am I approaching it the correct way? We have to consistently look at ourselves and judge ourselves based on our actions. How are we doing? How are we helping, being prevalent, we are being beneficial to society, to our families, to our community? We have to think of it not just what's for my benefit, but to myself. Yeah. The Gemara says one step further. It says Shoftim v'shotim titelacha b'chol sha'alecha. When it says the term the Torah says is to give for the cities, it doesn't say b'chol irecha, but rather it says sha'alecha, all your gates.
So your eyes, your mouth.
We all have different gates that we have allowing things that come inside. We have as Stechel says, our eyes, our nose, our mouth, our ears. We have ears, just like gates, when you have a city that's walled, just like gates is what allows things in, allows things out. So too, we should put Shoftim v'shotim v'chol shorecha. We have to think about what we see and what we hear, and we have to think about what we say and what we smell and what we eat. We should think about everything should be really, really thought out and make sure that it's done for a noble and holy and proper cause. We should make sure that we don't bring ourselves to temptations which the world as ayin ro'av alev chomed, the eye sees and the heart desires. We shouldn't put ourselves in things of tests that could drive us to do things which are incorrect, which we know are not morally correct. And therefore that's Shoftim v'shotim titan lecha b'chol sha'alecha, that the Torah is telling us that each of us we should place a shofet, and then a shoftim that we should learn. The shoftim is when we learn Torah. The Torah is what gives us direction, gives us idea of what is correct, what is moral, what is the direction we should do. And then a shoter is we have to have the willpower to sometimes, though we don't want to listen to what the Torah tells us, still
we have to.
Still do it.
Yeah, we want
still
to
do it.
Yeah.
Omar, the Gemara says, don't say I can't do something. Says I could do it. I could eat the cheeseburger, but you know what? I'm not going to eat it because that's what the Torah tells me.
Exactly.
The approach we
That's what I'm Brandon. He said, there was pepperoni pizza. He doesn't want that. No, I don't care. The Torah, we Jewish. We don't. It's like exactly that. You don't do that.
And the Torah gives us. The Torah gives us and Hashem gives us the power when He believes in us that we have the ability to go beyond. We have a special ability to go beyond our desires. We just heard a beautiful story today. We was playing a story in the car of Rabbi Brisky from Laguna Hills in California. He was telling over the following story: that there was a Jew who lived in Chicago, and he was making steps in Judaism. And one time after discussion, he he made a he made it. He says I want to do something. I want to grow my Judaism. I want to do something special. So his rabbi says, how? He says, I want to start keeping kosher. I said, it's amazing. But I'm going to keep kosher from tomorrow. From tomorrow, I'm going to keep kosher. And rabbi says, I'm going to support you, I'm going to help you, everything to make sure. And tomorrow, I'm saying, so he says, but tomorrow I'll do it. The rabbi says, why are you saying tomorrow? Why not today?
Yeah. Now.
Why not now? I'm saying, stay kosher, keep it today. If you're doing something special, keep it now.
Yeah.
Rabbi, don't push it. I said tomorrow, I'll do tomorrow. Now, why did he want to wait till tomorrow? Because in Chicago, there's a restaurant called Super Dog.
He wanted to eat one last time.
And they had the most famous hot dogs in all of Chicago.
Okay. Is it true? Is it a true story?
I imagine it's true. No. I imagine it's true. It sounds the way you'll hear it. It sounds real. I said I'm gonna check up on this story.
Okay.
After I heard, I'm gonna check up to see if it's an actual story.
Okay.
I'm gonna follow up on it.
Okay.
I just heard it. Literally, we played it on the way to go. We traveled today. On the way, we played. So it says I want to go and and he wanted to go to this one last time to enjoy this super dog.
Okay.
He really loved them. He really loved them. So he goes and comes to the super dog and he sits down and he ordered himself this hot dog that they had there and all the things. And as it is, a person sits down and begins to chat, and they made the chat. It was a very wonderful and very friendly conversation. And he says he sees like this guy is began to eat his super dog, and the guy says, it looks like you really like them, really like him. He says, yeah, I really do, but this is gonna be my last one, forever, and I'm really savoring the moment. So he says, really? He says, why? He says he wasn't sure he wasn't sure how to explain it. Probably not Jewish. I'm going to tell him about kosher or not. What's about it? He says he didn't feel comfortable telling him about his kosher things. So he tells things have gotten rough in our lives, and we've made a decision that no more fast food. We're only going to eat food from home, and therefore it's my last hot dog because I don't know if I'll ever eat fast food again, and that's what. So the guy says, really? I'm going to make your day special. I want to introduce myself. I'm the owner of Super Dog. And I so appreciate your conversation, and I feel bad for the situation that you're in. I'm going to give you a golden ticket. If you have the golden ticket, you have for life. Always get as many super dogs as you can.
Oh my God. Oh, not fair. That's temptation.
It says, yeah, and this is my special gift to you. And the guy says, sitting there, and he gets it, and he is so annoyed.
Oh.
He comes back to the rabbi, he says, I don't get this. This is what God does to me.
Taste.
I'm doing it. I make this this resolution. The night I'm making the next day I'm going to keep it. All of a sudden he puts such a temptation in front of me about putting out super dogs for life, and he knows how much I love it.
That's nasty.
Said the rabbi tells him, "This Hashem, God wanted to really show you a gift."
Because he can do it with coffee every time.
He wanted to show you don't believe in your own, don't know your own strength that you have. He wanted to show you that even if you're going to have the biggest temptation of having ability to eat super dogs for life, you are stronger than that. and you'll be able to be overcome that. And when he heard that, that empowered him tremendously. And he began to grow in his Judaism. He got fully involved, and the way what he said was in his dining room. There's a big frame, and in the large frame, there's this golden ticket to always remind him that special gift Hashem gave him of how strong he truly is. So sometimes we don't think, you think when with Shota, our ability to overcome ourselves, you think the ability, I don't have the strength. Hashem tells you, no. You have the strength. I'm giving you a challenge because you have the strength to overcome. And when we do that, it says that when we each of us do, when we overcome ourselves, when we do, despite our challenges, despite desires, we bring the totaliest and the greatest levels of God into the world. So though we want to do things we be able to have the ability to overcome that and really bring a blessing and light and holiness to this world. Koyach, thank you.